In this video, we are going to see how to adjust the trunk and the hip and for instance also the fill figure, and how to keep or not keep hands and feet in place. If I go in the legs hip tab, at the bottom of it, I find the hip controls with the options to say if I want the helpers to stay on feet or the feet to stay on helpers, and this is the same for the hand. So for now the figure has no translation, and here I want the helpers to stay on feet and hand. I can check the status. The helpers are not really far from feet and hand. Okay, so let's translate the figure near the bottom. Okay, so the figure goes down and the helpers stay where they are, meaning on feet and on head. Okay, I can, for instance, adjust feet to stay on helpers and move my figure up. In this case, the helpers don't move, you see, and the feet remain on their helpers. Okay, so let's come back to our initial pose, okay, and have a look at the trunk figure settings. So you have exactly the same options. So for instance, here we are going to bend. Oh my god, I bent too fast. Sorry. Okay. You can bend and the hands are still in place, okay? But they don't keep the hand orientation. That's what it's part of this tutorial, okay? So as you see, here I bend all the bones together. It also works if I twist, okay? Only some of the bones. The hands stay in place. Okay, they don't move. Their orientation in the space moves, but their location remains the same. Okay, the location of the hand node. All right. So the issue is that I don't manage to keep the hand orientation. What I wanted to show is that it's the first option. Okay. Now, if you let the arms properties free, okay, this time the arms in the end follow the body. Okay, just as if there was no helper. Okay, and if you want to move the helpers to the hands back, either you use you have several ways to do this. You can use move both helpers to hands. Okay, so the helpers are going to be moved on hands, or you can use this move helper to move helper to hand here and move helper to hand here, or you can just reconnect. Okay, reconnect. Reuse the first option and just do a little change anywhere. Boom, here, for instance. Oh, it was a big change. But with a little change, it would be the same. I mean, the calculus will immediately place the body on the hands on the helpers. Okay, any calculation that you launch. Okay, I'm going to undo this. So the more operations you have, the more the undo can take long to be processed. Okay. And I'm going to show you how to keep the hands orientations too. So this time, for instance, we are going to change the truck, but we want to keep the same hand orientation. Okay, the hands being already at their max bend, we are going immediately to set limits to off. Okay, and we are going for each hand to set up a hand orientation as preferred orientation, and to ask that the orientation is kept while moving the arms. Okay, we are going to bend the figure, and this time the hand orientation is preserved. So the hands are moving a bit. Why? It's because in the convergence I have 5 millimeters of margin allowed. I can reduce this and increase the number of iterations. Okay, and let's do it again. So you bend, you see, the hands does not move, and the orientation of the hands does not move too, sorry. You can bend back, it will be the same. All right. Okay, this way it's not possible. All right, and you can do the same for the twists. I mean, you can twist the body, twist the trunk. You can side the trunk. Okay, and the hands remain exactly the same here. And if you don't like the shoulder, the collar here, okay, obviously, yeah, there is an issue with the collar. You change the collar. Okay, that's very easy. What you have to do is that here you must try to maintain a hand orientation. Okay, other thing you can do is go back to choose option. Okay, move your trunk of the figure. I don't know, yeah, but bend it this way, and then reactivate this and do just a little change anywhere, just to trigger a calculation. Okay. Okay, now, I mean, it was 2 clicks because I have some booleans that set up things. Well, don't worry, just modify a little bit the arms orientation, and the hands will be set back in place, even if they were lost, because when you did this, the script remembers for the whole session the preferred orientation. You can change this orientation whenever you want. I mean, you can rotate the hands and so on. Okay, and when this orientation is changed, you can set up the new orientation as your new preferred orientation. You can update it finally. Okay, and here I still don't like the bend collar, and you see I bend the collar and I preserve the hand orientation. Okay, and now if I move, for instance, my figure up and down, I want the feet to stay on helpers, hands to stay on helpers, and I'm going to push it on the z-axis. Where is it? So here everything gets closer. And here we're going to push it backwards. So it's a little bit difficult because I increased the number of iterations. What you can do is, while you do that, you decrease the number of iterations. You lose in precision, but you can come back to your initial precision very easily. 8. I won't go lower than 8. Okay. I was in the figure. I'm going to translate it along the z-axis. Less 20. Okay. For instance. And I lost some precision. Okay. So don't worry. I increased the number of iterations. And I'm going to do just a little change. 2 clicks here. 2 clicks here. Okay. And the hands are back on the way they were initially. Okay. It's doing just a little modification, force the script to recalculate everything. Okay. And so this way you can choose if the hands stay on the helper or not when you move the hip, the figure, the trunk, or in this case, if the helpers stay on the hand. Okay. It's really up to you. You can also have the options where the hands follow the movement, okay, of the body, but the helpers don't move. Okay, and choose to either place one arm, okay, one helper to the hand and one hand to the helper. Okay, so that's you do whatever you want this way. Okay, you choose. And I'm going to undo all this. Now let's have a look at partial connections. Okay, it means one hand is connected and the other one is not. So I'm gonna use, okay, this figure anyway. That's not maybe the best example, but let's go with this. And I'm going to disconnect one helper for the hand and one helper for the feet. Okay, so they are disconnected. You see this because here it's written disconnect. As long as it's written disconnect, it's seen as disconnected, but this one is still connected, okay? And this one is still connected because you don't see disconnect. And you can, for instance, translate the figure along the y-axis with hands and feet staying on helpers. Let's go by steps of 20. 25, okay, sorry. Oh no, I have forgotten to, sorry, I've forgotten to set it up. That's not normal. And I have to adjust feet to stay on helpers, meaning that the connected feet will stay on the helper, but whatever happened, the disconnected hand and the disconnected foot, will not stay on the helper. So let's do this again. Okay, you see this side is connected, so everything is made so that the hand stay on this helper and foot stay on this helper. Okay, but this side is disconnected, so everything moves with its original pose when the figure is translated. That's all. Okay, you can try to rotate it and it's the same. Okay, I mean, this hand has been kept on its helper, this foot has been kept on its helper, but this hand and this foot moved freely, as if there was no helper at all. Okay, and if you're happy with your new pose, you can set it as the new pose for the helper by saying move helpers to hand and feet. Okay, and this is your new working pose with helpers. Okay, where you can move up, down. Oh, I've forgotten, I disconnected it. Sorry, you have to reconnect. I can do this here. I can also move the helper to the end here. All right, and I must remember to reconnect. So either using this or using the general options, or by clicking disconnect and then reconnect all helpers. And this time that's the new. Okay, that's the new pose. That's the new reference for the helpers for the pose setting. So we saw hand orientation preservation. It's absolutely the same thing for the feet. Okay, if you want to preserve the orientation, better set limit off. Okay, so that you are sure that the orientation is fine. And use setup preferred orientation. You have the same here. Set up foot as preferred foot orientation, and then try to maintain foot orientation. Okay, that's all. That's the same principle, and we have seen how the couple hand helper, foot helper behave when you move the trunk, the hip, or the figure. Right, and and how they can be partially disconnected. And I mean, one hand connected, and the other one disconnected. So that was all for this video presentation. That was the goal of the video presentation. Thank you for your attention, and bye bye.